Welcome back. That was the score. Bring us up to speed with how events unfolded. The biggest talking point last week was Sharon Lokedi and, of course, Helen Obiri with very good run, more so in the last 1.5 kilometers of the Boston Marathon. Very good push, and John Korir as well. Congratulations to the entire Kenyan contingent at the Boston Marathon. As we look at all the same, also, just giving you updates, our very own junior starlets, unfortunately, the under-17 team were not able to get it right and make it to their second successive World Cup in football. They were beaten by Cameroon by 3-1 yesterday in the evening. Congratulations to them, though, because they've put Kenya on the map. They live to fight another day. Well, as mentioned earlier on, before we went for the score, we were getting up to discuss matters beach volleyball. Beach volleyball, many ask themselves, can it be played anywhere or must it be at the beach? Remember, there must be standards and a few, a few conditions needed. The type of sand that is used during beach volleyball is not just any other sand that you'd have. Let's now get to introduce the team with us in studio to just let us know what to expect from a beach volleyball point of view. We've had national tours, and of course from last year, then also beach volleyball have featured in the last two Olympics in Tokyo, Japan, in Paris. They were there. They've been among the best in Africa at times, winning silver medal. How is it like now in terms of beach volleyball? Let's get to introduce the team with us this afternoon in studio. Or they are representatives of different clubs, and then of course we have the national head coach here with us as well. To my I'll start with my farthest left, and we have a gentleman, Beethoven Okombo, who plays for Equity Bank with us in studio this afternoon. Beethoven, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Karibu sana studio.
Shukran.
Asante. Next to Beethoven, we have Naomi Wafula of Trailblazers with us in studio as well. Naomi, very versatile. At times she's shy, but at times she's very, very vocal. We want to see the vocal side of her this afternoon. She's also here with us in studio. Naomi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Ama nisiwaambie vile unapiganga kelele kwa kiwanja?
Unaweza waambia.
Karibu sana. Next to Naomi, we have Nimrod Kamadi, Nimrod Kamadi of Equity as well with us in studio. Very shy at times, but when he gets to the court, he's always very, very different indeed. Nimrod, karibu sana studio.
Thank you very much.
How are you doing?
Good.
All well?
Yes.
Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Then let's cross over to my right where we have with us Leah Okumu, also of Postbank with us. I asked Leah earlier on before we went on air, why is it that anytime I try receiving, a volleyball, it's never directed to the booster, but it will always go to the right or to the left, as in misalignments. I don't know. Leah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I always get it wrong, right? So what am I supposed to do? Hold?
You are supposed to hold your hand, and then left you put together, then you straight your hands, you align well, then you direct to your setter.
So it is you to direct where you want it to
Yes.
go.
The thing is you have to align your hands
Fast.
well.
Wow.
Yes.
Coach Lungao has tried this with me and he gave up. He said, wewe usaidiki. Coach Lungao, I hope one day nitasaidika in terms of getting it right. Karibu sana Leah and feel at home.
Thank you.
Asante. Last but not least, we have Patrick Owino with us. Patrick is the national team head coach and also the Equity Equity Beach Volleyball team coach as well. A privilege and honor to have him here with us as the national head coach. Patrick, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Fidi.
Karibu sana.
Thank you very much.
I'll start with you before I get into the playing unit. We've had national tours. We had the Trigger Tiwi tour that happened last weekend at the Trigger Tiwi in South Coast. How was it like for you, and were you satisfied with the level of standards that you saw there?
Well, first I must say that beach volleyball is rising in standards in Kenya at the moment, and more so because we are doing a lot to popularize the game in various parts of the country. So last weekend we were at Tiwi Beach Resort, and the tournament was well organized, it was good. Of late, we organize them not just locally, but we align with the FIVB standards, so that's why we call them homologated beach volleyball tours.
And as we talk about the standards of the game, must it be played at the beach, or can one import the beach sand and, you know, have a makeshift court and play?
Well, the ideal situation is playing at the beach, but it is not a must that it is played at the beach. It is just a matter of meeting the conditions of playing on a sand court, which can be constructed anywhere within the country. And even going by the international standards where you play like the World Championships, it is never at the beach because they must construct an arena where even the spectators are catered for in terms of where they are going to be, where they are viewing the matches. So long as the conditions of the sand court are met and the standard pitch, it can be pitched anywhere.
Wow.
Yes.
Leah, you know, from a beach volleyball point of view, how was it like for you and Equity and Postbank, sorry, at the Tiwi, you know, beach volleyball at the South Coast?
It was not bad, but the challenge we had was too much wind. Yes.
It was too windy.
Yeah, it was too windy.
Wow.
Yes.
But that's the beauty of the game, you know, Nimrod. Would you agree, or the conditions were just too harsh for, you know, for beach volleyball?
At times it fluctuates. Like on Saturday it was windy. Coming on Sunday morning, it was a bit moderate. But towards the afternoon, things were really flipping off. You try to serve, the wind takes to a different trajectory, to a different place. And the sun was not on us. It was so scorching. So, I mean, I think they are the standards condition of the beach. We can't expect a cloud anyway.
Yeah.
That's a good one, because in windy situations, it can be really tough, more so if you're the receiving team, you know, on one end and the wind is blowing towards you, and the fine sand, you know, at times can even be up in terms of just affecting your vision. But that's the beauty about some of the sports that we deal in. Yeah. Let's discuss. Naomi, from your point of view, how was it like? Did you realize, you know, a situation where things were just tough? The conditions, like Nimrod and Leah have mentioned, were very windy. But let's talk about the fine sand. There are those who say in Kiswahili, inavuta misuli. Was that the case?
Yeah, for the sand, it was not, you know, they actually limit. It doesn't have to be too much or not too much. So actually, it was not too much. You could at least jump from the sand. So hainge kuvuta chini, I'll say that. It was just normal. It was not too hot. You know, actually, about the sand, we never complain about the muchness of the sand or not. We actually complain on the burning, because at times when it's too hot, it literally burns your feet. So if it's too hot, you're just stepping like this.
On toes.
Yeah, just on toes, because if you, actually the thing is you have to dip your feet inside, and because inside it's actually not cold.
A bit warmer.
Yeah.
Not as hot.
Yeah. But the problem is when you dip your hand like this and then they serve the ball, when you start moving, that's when it pulls you back. Yeah, that is the problem you're having. And
you, Beethoven, you play barefoot. You don't have any sneakers.
Yeah, you just have to be barefoot.
How was it like for you?
For me, challenge was, as my colleagues have mentioned, I experienced it was about the wind. Yeah, it was too much windy, and encountering and playing in that circumstance of too much wind, it was a big challenge. But you just have to adjust, because you are competing.
As an Equity Bank, player, beach volleyball player, how were the results for you? Were you satisfied from a club point of view?
From a club point of view, okay, to my perspective, it's like this last edition we at least performed well, because we secured the podium finish, We represented 6 teams, and 4 teams out of the 6, we managed to secure number 2, and there's also number 4. So for results for this edition, I believe we have made some improvement.
When we talk about the improvements and the standards that have come up, in the space, Coach Patrick, you mentioned earlier on that you're seeing a lot of improvement. Based on what you've seen, let's now go back and look at the beach volleyball in general. We had the Trigger tour that has just come back. How many tours have we had from last year to this year, and are they beneficial to you as the technical bench in terms of selecting the national team? Are you satisfied, or you feel that you need more of such tours?
Well, I would say the tours didn't just start even last year. We started way back in 2022, when the very inaugural tour that we had was in Homa Bay County at Tiwi Beach Resort. We started from there. We moved in the same year again to Makueni County. Then since then, we've been rotating to Mombasa, to the South Coast, and all that. And it is impacting positively, because previously we were holding those beach volleyball tours, but the players who are going to participate, they were just transferring the volleyball they know to go and play it on the sand and call it beach volleyball. You see, there's a difference, because there's a level of skills that are required for beach volleyball, which differentiates it a little bit from the indoor volleyball. So because of the number of tours that we've held and a bit of some training opportunities we've had with some players, the tactical aspect is improving in beach volleyball. And this is actually impacting well, because we are getting players who are now playing good beach volleyball as opposed to volleyball on sand. Yeah.
What's the difference between playing the normal volleyball, apart from just the beach, and of course the number of players at any given time? What are the other differences that stand out in terms of these two, the beach and indoor volleyball, apart from the number of players and being played, in sand?
Okay, there are several aspects that are different, which from the outlook might not seem so different. But you see, like in beach volleyball, the aspect of using too much strength when attacking is not very necessary. It's more of using the mental skills, such that you look at the best way possible to land that ball in the opponent's court. So use of power for attacking is not so much needed in beach volleyball, but it is very essential in volleyball, because the blockers are there, and there are at least 2 or 3. So you need the power to go through. But in beach volleyball, because the players are only 2, all you need is the skills to maneuver the ball to land on the opponent's court. The other aspect that is different is that when you go for a block in beach volleyball, the touch of that ball counts as first touch, as opposed to the indoor volleyball, where the block touch does not count. You still have 3 attempts to make before the ball crosses over to the next court. In beach volleyball, if you touch the ball during the blocks, 1 touch is gone. You're remaining with 2 before you cross the ball over to the opponent's court. The other aspect is also about the court coverage. There are no positions that you are restricted to be on this side, or and even rotation issues. You and your partner, you can switch at will, at your convenience. If you find that it is not working well on this end, you can tell your partner, come and try this side, you switch. Yeah. And again, in beach volleyball also, there's no center line, such that if you are trying to retrieve the ball or save it, you can cross over to the opponent's court, as long as you don't interfere with the play of the opponent. That is not a foul. So there are several differences.
The scoring goes just normal scoring.
No, even the score line is different because beach volleyball goes up to 21. Normal volleyball goes up to 25. For the first 3 sets in normal volleyball, it goes up to 25. The 5th set goes to 15. So in beach volleyball, it's played best of 3 as opposed to best of 5 in volleyball. Take the first one, the opponents take the second one, you go to the tie break on the 3rd set. The 3rd set also ends at 15 in beach volleyball.
So you don't go 5 sets?
You don't go 5, you only go 3 at most.
So get to your home.
If you get 2 consecutively, you're done. You've nailed it, you've won the match, you proceed to the next level.
The other volleyball, the normal indoor is you go 3.
Yeah, normal, even though you must be 3 clear.
3 clear sets.
Yes, 3 clear sets before you win the match.
So Leah, in beach volleyball, if you went to block and you touched it and it's still on your court, on your side, you must be ready to attack you again. Because you blocked it,
Yes.
your partner will have to set it for you or decide. But ideally, you should be ready to attack.
Yes.
How is the training like? I like that.
Beach volleyball training is very tough because you usually train in the sand. Yes.
And as you go through these trainings, Nimrod,
Yes.
What are the things that you go out for? Agility, you must be very fast, and concentration levels must be up there because like coach says, hapa ni akili mtu wangu.
Yes.
It's nothing to do with power. It's
Yes.
just looking at the positioning of your opponent
Yeah.
and just know, kidogo to drop it here by the time afike. So how is your training like? What are those things that you look out for in training? Speed, power, not, a clear necessity or an ingredient, but concentration must be at its best.
Yeah. So you also have to train to create, you run, you make some runs before you even come to the game to create endurance, right? So you find in beach volleyball, you make some short, quick steps when you're going for maybe saving a ball or rather going to set, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you have to make some quick steps. It's not like you jump far step because the sand will push you back. So when you're training, you have to put them into mind because the ball is also lighter. It can float for some time. Mm-hmm. So you'll have to make quick steps and then get to it. To acquire that, actually, you need to have done a little bit of cardiac strength. You've run about, yes. And then
Interesting, looking at some of the volleyball players. That Sam, what's her name? I keep forgetting her name. One of the pioneers of volleyball, beach volleyball in Kenya. Gaudensia Gau, exactly. Gaudensia Makoha. Gau, some of one of the pioneers of beach volleyball in the country, a veteran indeed. Naomi, we see in normal beach volleyball games or in normal games, when your partner is serving, you put some, I can see at times some fingers at your back.
Yeah.
It's like you're communicating. Are you communicating to your partner? Because there are signs, but you put them at the back. So if, say, Beethoven is your partner, does Beethoven get to know what you're communicating, what you're talking about, by just those signs at your back?
Yeah, actually, beach volleyball, one thing that is really different from the indoor volleyball is beach, you actually have to play with someone who you synchronize very well. You cannot play with someone. Okay, for indoor, I can have someone who I don't like and I can play with them. And we might not even meet anywhere. But for beach, you really have to have that rapport between you and your partner. Because if I'm not making a mistake, then she's making a mistake, and vice versa. So I have to really know how to calm her down. And for the communication, it also comes with, yes, she has made a lot of mistakes, but I'm still communicating to her to make sure she's on the game. So she has to like look at the communication. If I do this, I'm pointing like serve on this other player, she's weaker than the other one, or I'm telling her serve between them because there's a lot of space. At least they say for beach, a service is the first attack. So you have to make point. If you can make point by service, you have to do it. So you have to really find how to weaken the other team. Yeah.
Very interesting indeed. You're making me feel like I want to go and start playing beach volleyball and looking at the signs that if you do this at your back, you're saying between them. Yeah. If you do this, you're saying serve it on this other end. This other player is a bit weaker in terms of the same. And also looking at the positioning. Beethoven, let's talk about your training now. How do you get to train with your partners? Is Nimrod your partner? Or you have another partner?
I have another partner.
So how do you get to train together so that you gel? She's just mentioned that you and your partner must be at sync at all times, which means you must know when Beethoven is running, how do I cover, where do I go? How do you train? Do you have a specific training program and meet a point and you just decide that kuna mchanga mahali, let's go and train and better our skills? How do you get it right?
Okay, with the challenges we encounter while training, running on that sand, it calls for more of endurance. And to add on the communication part, any team sport requires communication. So from the training level, that's where you have to build the communication. So it starts from there. You have to communicate, and then you'll be able to tell how you'll be coordinating. Yeah.
Interesting. And let's come to you, Coach Patrick. You've had the players. There are critical things that you look out for. What are those ingredients as a national coach that you would want to look out for, that by the end of the day you'd say, this is a national team material? This player can be one of the best for us to go and deliver and get the desired podium or silverware that we're looking out for.
Well, that's the challenge we always have. But as a trained coach, there are basic aspects that we look at, because first, when you're pairing, you must ensure that this pair can actually gel and they can give results. Looking at the beach volleyball, you see, much as we are not keen on positions as they play, but we know the positions that the players do play in normal volleyball. So if you pair so-and-so and so-and-so, they can gel well. They can complement each other in different aspects because they have different strengths in terms of tactics and the skills. One key thing is one of them must be tall for you to be thinking about international competitions. One of them must be tall so that he can be able to block, because the height is an advantage in terms of blocking. And given that jumping on the sand is not so easy, you need that height to add an advantage so that you get a higher reach. Because when you go to international championships, the games are tough from the start. So if somebody is training so much to jump higher with a minimal height, they'll be exhausted or they'll be worn out so fast. Another thing is that you look at the agility of the players, how one must be very defensive such that if you get a good blocker, the other one can effectively run around to defend the court as the other one blocks, so that they can complement each other in that way. Communication also goes into how they handle the opponents. You see the signs they are making, and why they are making it at the back is because you don't want to show the opponents what your intentions are. So that's why the signs are made at the back. You're only communicating to your partner. As soon as you are in sync with the communication, you execute. So we scout different aspects of the skills when we get the players for the national team.
And as you do that, still with you, Coach Patrick, in 2019 African Games, Kenya ended up with a silver medal. But in Ghana, we came back empty-handed. What do you think was, the major contributor to this? Because it looks like we were up, then all of a sudden, we dropped.
Actually, in 2019, I was the coach of that team that got the silver medal in Morocco. And I can say we had a good preparation because the ministry gave us 2 weeks of camping at the beach in Mombasa. We did good training there. And then we went to the championship when we were well prepared. For last year in Ghana, things didn't work out so well. Much as I was not there, I cannot disown because I'm a coach. I cannot disown the results because those are our players, and the same players we used in the previous championships. But I would say our preparation was not so good. We waited till last minute. We started training here at Strathmore in Nairobi. And you know, that is not a very standard court for international preparation. Then by the time they were going to Mombasa, it was just like 2-3 days. Then there were some confusions with the travel arrangements. I think they went when they were not fully prepared. That's why the results did not please. The results deteriorated a bit. But at least we pick up from where we left. We learn from such downfalls. And now we are gearing, because there are some upcoming championships that are slated for late this year, from the month of August going forward to September. So we are making arrangements so that we are not caught up in such a mess again.
Well, we are hoping that that's not the case again, like you rightly put it, because being one of the powerhouses in Africa, then all of a sudden dropping and coming out of Ghana with nothing after a very strong performance in Morocco in 2019 with the preparations. Leah,
Yes.
beach volleyball, one can argue, favors those players who come from the coastal region where they are blessed with very good sandy beaches. Do you think that is a major contributor? Because when you look at beach volleyball, many would argue that those at the coast have the advantage over those within other areas of Nairobi and maybe areas that are not blessed with beach sandy beaches. Do you think that's the major contributor, or just being a very good polished volleyballer, you can quickly adapt and be one of the best, like Gaudensia Makoha, for example? Gau was very, very good in normal, court volleyball and ended up being one of the best in beach volleyball.
At times, those who are at the beach there, they get a big advantage because most of the time they train there. They are used to the wind there and the sun there. So for those of us who are here in Nairobi, we only have one beach at Strathmore. And now
Not actually a beach,
Yes.
a sand court.
Yes, makeshift, yes, the
Yes.
Sandcourt at Strathmore University.
yes. It's not that fine like the one at beach. Yes.
Tough indeed, but it is what it is. Nimrod, as we look at, some of the key things that you're looking at, based on the performance that you've seen, where do you see Kenya from a beach volleyball point of view? Do you think Kenya can rule Africa? Because in normal court volleyball, more so from the ladies' side, we are the African queens. The Wafalme strikers are also coming up very, very strong. Do you think Kenya can dominate and become a powerhouse in beach volleyball?
Yes, I'm very optimistic about that. I have seen players who come, and Makio, with these tournaments, these tours, you don't find a winner who has been there, has retained the top position, meaning there's a good, healthy competition between players. So you'll find you're number one, next time you're number three, the other time. So again, even the federation and the coach, they're really giving chances to players and athletes, making combinations, and even the partnering players to synchronize, and it's really giving a good volume of good space for improvement.
As we look at, north and south coast now, which one would you prefer to play in the north or the south coast?
Actually, the coast generally is really tough. You see, because of that wind again. It's really tough. So, when the wind is too much, you don't actually get to enjoy the game because the teams are just making aces. The rallies are not there. When there's a rally, that's actually when you enjoy the game. But then again, those are the conditions of beach volleyball. So if actually we can just be rotating, moving, we get to adjust because we are not from the coast, and then we don't have the funds to be at the coast every time. We can use Strathmore because that's what we afford. Adjust to Strathmore. When we get there, at least we'll be having the skills already. So it will just be a matter of adjusting because you already know how to serve. It's just like, okay, the wind is moving from this direction to the other direction. So let me take it this side. It will not be much of something to struggle with. But the coast generally is not easy.
Not easy.
It's not easy at all.
It's not the best of places to go in, despite all the, all the good conditions. One can argue that would favor beach volleyball, but from a personal point of view, it's not the best place to go. As
a competitor,
yes,
it's not the best place to go, especially when you're on the receiving end, or even when you're on the serving end, and then you've not mastered the wind.
Yes.
Because actually, you'll find a player who has not even played beach. They will just beat you up and down. You just be there thinking like, Connie, has this beach volleyball changed? Because they're just serving, you're trying to do your things, whatever your coach told you, it's not working because of the wind. By the time you master it, you blink, you open your eyes, the set is gone. You messed up, you've lost.
I told you earlier on that Naomi can be talkative and she can say it all as it is. This is just a tip of Naomi. Naomi can talk given an opportunity. Beethoven, where do you see yourself, with Equity Bank in the next, say, 1 or 2 years from a beach volleyball point? Do you think you'll be dominating?
I'm seeing a progress now that we are privileged to also have a coach. So it's a privilege having a coach who has played and also competed in big tournaments, because that has been a challenge. I transitioning from the indoor game to beach. It comes out of the basics of the indoor and then venturing into beach. At least you'll be having some basics. And the challenge comes where you are getting into beach, yet you don't have that background of the rules. I believe with the help of coach, we'll be somewhere.
Somewhere we will be for sure. Coach Patrick, you have the final word, in this interview. And the word would be, like he rightly puts it, he's seeing them heading somewhere. You double up as the Equity and the national team coach. Let's focus on the national front. Kenya has been, always in the last 2 Olympics. We were in Tokyo, we were in Paris, which means the potential is there. Any hope that maybe the World Championships could be the next target, and what do we need to do so that we can be a force anytime we head to the likes of, the Olympics? We saw countries like Brazil, blessed with so many sandy beaches, in Brazil, dominating and playing very good volleyball. What do you think we need to do to be dominant and make sure that we are always at the Olympics and we always feature at the World Championships as we wind up?
Well, I would say it all calls for proper planning. And we've actually discussed that with our chairman, Mr. Moses Mbudia. What we are currently working on is at least trying to get some sponsorship from reliable partners whom we can partner with, so that we get good preparation in readiness for those upcoming championships. We know there is World Championships coming. We are hoping to be there. And even with these national tours that we are holding, there are also sort of build-ups towards such events. Because in beach volleyball, again, it is somehow different. Even the qualification system for such world stages is different from the indoor volleyball. It is not just a matter of holding one qualifying tournament and then you finish. You start with the build-up of several tours homologated and sanctioned by FIVB, which will eventually propel you to get to the world stage with the qualifying tournament that will be organized. So we are working on that, and with the assistance and collaboration of our chairman, Mr. Moses Mbudia, we are looking for strategic partners who can at least support us in terms of preparations, making sure that we can have arrangements and for camping before such championships.
Thank you very much, Patrick. Wishing you all the best, and please pass regards to Moses Mbudia. I know his plate is full at the moment with so much going on. Wishing him all the best. Beethoven Okombo, Equity Bank player, thank you very much for making time. Naomi Wafula, Trailblazers, wishing you all the best, and keep talking to them, push them. Then we also have Nimrod Kamadi from Equity, Lea Okumu, Post Bank player, and of course Coach Patrick Owino, our coach of the national team, who doubles up as an Equity coach as well. Thank you very much, wishing you all the best as you continue with your national tours. Well, it's at that point that we wrap up the discussion from a beach volleyball point, and we now shift gears and go into the ace. And this time round, we are featuring a legend who's been part of the football history in this country. His name will always feature up there when you talk about the football players of the yesteryears, the Joe Masigas, the Josephat Murilas. You will never miss to hear the name Alan Thigo. We are featuring Alan Thigo in our Ace segment. Enjoy and get down memory lane on what made them tick. Alan has a very interesting story to tell. Enjoy. The Ace is up next.